Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Objective. I am in need of some Mucinex. This is not an official sponsor, although I do appreciate their product. I have been congested. My throat has seen much better days, and I especially need this right now because I am going to sing. If you're somewhere after 5 p.m., if it's 5 p.m. where you are, why don't you take a shot with me? If it's morning time, like it is in, like regular countries, why don't you drink some espresso or something and take a shot with me as the Titanic begins to sink. So Elon Musk is a guy who, a lot of people have admired, including me. I've always liked his sort of sense of benevolence, but I've also always been realistic. And I've said, we live in an intellectual climate where if you're ill-equipped, that is, you don't have like a great philosophical framework, there's a good chance you're going to get seduced and led astray by people who don't really have it down right. So we all know the woke, right? The social justice left, people who they lie, they exaggerate certain problems, they invent other problems. They are enemies of individualism. They're enemies of freedom. Those people have been chipping away at life as we know it. And this has been going on. In response to the woke, in response to the social justice left, we have largely seen, unfortunately, excitement and rabble-rousing. Now, there was a period of time when, you had like this sort of intellectual movement, mini movement. You had the so-called intellectual dark web, as it was dubbed. You had people from sort of all different walks of life in a weird way. All they really had in common was that they were not social justice woke leftists. But some of them could even be like postmodernists, like, is it Theodis Russell, if I'm pronouncing that name right? You had Rubin, the atheist, the Democrat atheist was starting to, take the red pill, quote unquote. Jordan Peterson, a psychology professor from Canada who just really had some serious objections to what was taking place vis-a-vis pronouns in the law in Canada. Brett and Eric Weinstein, who I guess were like biologists. One of them was, the other I'm not sure. Who knows? I don't know. Sam Harris, of course, is a neuroscientist who is an atheist. He was one of the big atheists of like the previous era, like one of the four horsemen, him and Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and Daniel Dennett. They were the four horsemen of the new atheists. And virtually, and Ben Shapiro, of course, the Orthodox Jew, conservative, free market and liberty, anti-abortion guy, all these people sort of came together to sort of have deep discussions. So it wasn't just about beating the left. It was, to a certain extent, about asking, well, if the left is wrong, if the woke, postmodern, whatever they are, the social justice philosophy is incorrect, well, what is correct? Let's talk about that. And there was kind of this healthy environment of discussing ideas. And I think some objectivists definitely reached a lot of new people, which is to say Ayn Rand's work reached a lot of new people thanks to that environment. Probably Yaron Brook and Mark Pellegrino, Alex Epstein, Don Watkins, and I made an appearance on a podcast or two myself. A lot of objectivists, or a lot of new people found out about objectivism or were inspired to learn more about it because of this so-called intellectual dark web. But within, I don't know, historians will debate. Was it within a month? Was it within a year? Was it within several years? At some point or another, it just became like a partisan thing. And people like Sam Harris wanted nothing to do with this anymore. I think the scene largely became about being anti-left more than anything else. Now, exceptionally late to the party is Elon Musk, who, I began the show by talking about. And a lot of people are very late to the party, right? Like they're just now finding out about all this. And that's fair. Like, it's not really a point against them. Not everyone has the time or the focus to focus on this so-called culture war, right? Not everyone in 2015 had time for this, or 2017 had time for this, or cared about this. So someone like Elon Musk is finding out about this now. And I think a recent tweet of his, December 12th, 2022, 6:25 a.m. Central Time, whatever that means to you. I think he basically tweeted out something that basically summarizes where he stands and what's wrong with him. He tweeted, "The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters." The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. Never cared for what they do. That was like a 1999 version of Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. Not to be mistaken for the cool version from the album in 1991 when the guy sang cool and didn't do that. Yeah. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. I hope you know what I'm saying. That's it. That's all. The woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. And in the replies, we have Luke Rudkowski, who I believe is a co-host on the Tim Pool podcast. Very controversial person. Some of his affiliations, I think. Anyway, learn more about him if you'd like to. But he replied, he's definitely, I think, what people would affiliate with somewhat of the fringe right. He replied to Elon Musk saying, "We are either in a mass awakening event or total collapse of society." And Elon Musk replied to him saying, "Exactly." Okay, literally, the woke mind virus needs to be defeated or nothing else matters. But also, if we're not in a mass awakening event, it's all of society collapses. So that, don't be woke, but everyone needs to mass awaken. It's just, isn't there this kind of like them versus us sort of language being used here? You have basically two different camps, two different tribes of woke people. You know, both sides. Like you have the right wingers, the reactionary right, talking about taking the red pill. Oh, he's red pilled, right? What does the red pill mean? Referring to the Matrix movie, of course. Like he gets what's really going on. What's really going on? You know what I mean. What's really going on? That's red pilled. Or you're quote woke, and that's you know what's really going on with the systems of racism and homophobia and all of that. Do we really need to have this ridiculous battle between two paranoid and rationalistic in the sense that their ideas are detached from their observation? Do we need to have these people go at each other? Like, I will offer you the sort of woke view that says philosophy is everywhere. Philosophy is responsible indirectly, or however you want to look at it, directly. Philosophy is why we had a dark age that lasted 1,000 years. Philosophy is why we came out of that dark age. Philosophy is why we got the modern world that we so enjoy. Political freedom at an individual level. Capitalism to the extent that we've had it. Technology beyond the wildest dreams of any science fiction writer. Philosophy. And what makes us turn our back on these things now? What makes us turn our back on political freedom, capitalism, and all the technology is the fact that reason is not properly employed and it's not properly upheld in the philosophy departments. To a large degree, we in the culture have turned our back on reason. So what bothers me about the reactionary right, and people I know, they hound me about this. They say, all you do is focus on the right. You're giving the left a pass. We all know the left is detrimental, but they win by default. They win by default. They're a more consistent instance of altruism. And until the reaction to the left is individualism, selfishness as a virtue, and reason, it's going to be a losing battle, and the Titanic will continue to sink. What I'm seeing is excitement. I'm seeing rabble rousing. I'm seeing people on the reactionary right on Twitter, now that they've all been given basically a blank check to say whatever they want on Twitter, and the bad guys have been fired from Twitter, and now, finally we can voice our opinion. They're abusing the allegation of groomer or pedophile. They're abusing that term. They're doing with the term pedophile or groomer what the left has done with the term racist, right? So there are definitely instances of racism, and they should be addressed. There are definitely instances of child abuse in one form or another that should very much be addressed and dealt with. And for that reason, it's very ill-advisable, or you don't want to overuse those terms. You don't want to use them inappropriately, right? So what we had on the left is people saying, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist, and that word lost its punch. But while they were using it, it's a very stigmatizing thing to accuse somebody of, right? To tell someone you're racist. That's a very stigmatizing thing in the world we live in the culture we live in. And then who wants to stick up for that guy? Who wants to get involved when someone's being accused of racism? Most people, they just want to back away and stay away from this dumpster fire, right? They want to wait for the storm to pass. So who wants to get involved with that? You can accuse somebody of racism, at least you could some years back, and it was basically the kiss of death. When what I'm seeing, conservatives or the new right or whatever this conglomeration of hyper excitable rabble rousers doing is like they're overusing the word groomer and pedophile to describe now people working at Twitter. So Twitter evidently or apparently did a very bad job addressing the problem of child exploitation on Twitter. Welcome to the internet. How many companies have you worked at where people are incompetent and the job is not getting done? That doesn't mean that the people at Twitter wanted that type of content. That doesn't mean they were purposely permitting it. That's a very serious charge to accuse somebody of. But in the mind of the reactionary right-winger, it's like, okay, so the left is this monolith and they hate everything good, and they hate, they love the abuse of children. They are groomers. Like they just bundle it all together, and they grab any sort of half piece of evidence that confirms that, and they turn a blind eye to any other evidence of that explains the context of the reality with that this is all taking place within. And it's irresponsible and it's reckless. And what I saw was somebody found Yoel Roth's dissertation or something he wrote for school, something like that, where Yoel Roth was an employee at Twitter who Elon Musk fired, or he quit when Elon Musk came on board. But this guy, Yoel Roth, he had a high position at Twitter, and he's become kind of like the punching bag. He's become like the dartboard of the entire reactionary right on Twitter. Mr. Roth wrote this dissertation in which, and this is my understanding based on the couple paragraphs that a particular person posted on Twitter that got a lot of attention. My understanding, and if I'm wrong about this, please take this as good faith, because like I said, there are bad people who wish to harm children. But here's what I saw in those couple paragraphs when I read them, and here's my understanding of them. Yoel Roth was saying this. He was saying, given that underage people, that teenagers are accessing apps like Grindr, apps that are used by the gay community, used by gay people to find partners. Given that teenagers are using these, he was saying maybe lawmakers and the app makers should work together to give these apps, to give teenagers access to these apps in a safe way. That's what I understand. Again, given that they're using these apps, maybe lawmakers and the tech people should work together to make these apps accessible to teenagers in a safe way. It's a controversial suggestion. I'm not sure what that would even look like. I did not get from that, from those paragraphs that Yoel Roth wrote, I did not understand him to be saying that teenagers should be matched with much older people. I did not get that. I did not get that he's trying to groom them, that he's trying to groom the underage to then have sex with them when they turn 18. But that's the allegation now against him. So when someone found this excerpt and posted it on Twitter, Elon Musk replied to it saying, "This explains a lot." Whoa. He said, "This explains a lot." I guess he's implying that Yoel Roth having a creepy attitude, a creepy relationship to the underage, a sort of a creepy approach to underage LGBT people, that's why CP, child exploitation pornography was not being scrubbed completely from Twitter before Elon came on board. That is a big allegation. And of course, people are going to run with it and they're going to get excited by it. And it's not, in this case, I don't think it's really fair, but just in general, having that type of behavior is unhealthy. Again, people are being excited. They're excitable. They're acting like children themselves with such recklessness. And this is not the way. This is not following reason. This is not being civilized. This is not healthy. So yeah, there's this tribal warfare taking place. And as Elon Musk basically put it in his tweet, the woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. I think I saw a headline saying Elon Musk says he lost his trans daughter because of the left or something like that. So Elon Musk has a child who has some kind of gender dysphoria. I don't know why that is. I don't know why people are trans. I truly don't know. I'm not taking a part in that controversial topic right now. It's not easy for me to answer. I could easily say something that I don't really know to be a fact. I could easily say, oh, they're all nihilistic, right? Oh, they're all at war with reality. I could say that, but I don't know that to be true. I could also say it's 100% healthy and normal. They were born this way, and anyone who's not affirming it, who is not affirming this new gender of theirs, is an evil, hateful person. I could say that, but I don't know that to be true either, right? So it's a very difficult new subject that we're all kind of trying to wrap our minds around right now. But Elon Musk has a daughter who is dealing with all of that, apparently, and Elon Musk is telling the press it's because, or he's saying, I don't know if he said it to the press or he said it somewhere, that, the left did this to him, the postmodernists, whoever it was he blamed. Look, I mean, you can't make these problems go away. You can't make these dilemmas go away. Or let's say it's as bad as Elon says. Let's say it is the left's fault, whatever that even means, right? That his daughter is the way she is. Is the best way to deal with it the way that the reactionary right is dealing with it, the way Twitter is handling it, conservative Twitter, however you would describe these people? It's like, again, it's mob-like, it's deductive in a way that is not it is not following a proper procedure, a proper method. It is just highly impulsive, tying things together. Right now, anyone who's not part of the reactionary right is the left, and they're all communists, and they're just at war with everyone. They're at war with civilization. They're at war with order. They're at war with any kind of hierarchy. I think you want to be careful. You want to be calm. You want to be mature. And if a mob is if mob mentality is what you're offering in response to the problems of the left, I'm afraid the left are going to continue gaining traction. I mean, and certainly Democrats are going to be winning elections if this is the way that conservatives are behaving. If conservatives want to completely get overexcited about these Twitter file drops and act like, oh, see, I told you the 2020 election was stolen. Okay, well, good luck with 2024 and every election after that. If I were giving Republicans the worst advice to give them, if I were giving them advice meant for them to lose, I would tell Republicans, keep harping the 2020 election, keep complaining about it, keep saying it was stolen. And that's, I think they know that it's a losing cause. It's a losing position, which is why we recently saw Donald Trump straight up saying, suspend the Constitution and put me in office. He knows there's no way he's winning another election, or at least I don't think he thinks that's possible. All right, let's see if we have any super chats. We have $2.99 from Christopher Smith. Thank you for that. $2.99 Canadian, that is. That's nice. Thank you for that. And with that, given that my throat is not in the best state it's ever been, given the fact that I'm fairly satisfied with the message I've given you to mull over, I hope you consider it and think about it. And given the fact that this show was once upon a time conceived as a 20-minute show in the first place, it was only supposed to be 20 minutes long. It became a 30 to 60-minute show because we have so much fun that we never want to end it. I'm actually going to end it right after these announcements. At 7 p.m. UK time coming up, it's the Fountainhead Book Club for ARCUK members. The session will also be live streamed for YouTube members, link in the chat. Then at 10 p.m. UK time, the Artful Tuesdays with Kirk Barbera, Antje Kalela, Jeff Britting, and Shoshana Milgram on Red Pawn Part 2. All right. Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you, got something positive. Obviously, we're not all going to agree, but I hope you respect the fact that I believe what I'm saying. I'm thinking about it. It's important to me. There was a moment Dave Rubin recounts. He says he was once at a bar with a former friend who was a man of the left, and they got into a political argument. And at one point, Rubin said to him, "Do you consider it possible that I believe what I believe? What I'm saying as much as you believe what you're saying?" And his friend said, "No, I don't think that's possible." And with that, Rubin threw some money on the bar and walked out. And that was the end of that friendship. And the lesson here being, I'm not here to lie to you. I got better things to do than to be a spokesperson for either camp or either tribe. I really am trying to explore these topics in earnest. All right. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a wonderful day. And we'll be back tomorrow for the Daily Objective. And goodbye.